Now, I've made it no secret that I think Disney isn't what they once were as a company. When I think they've screwed up, which seems to be often these days, I'll freely say it. Just how when I think they've gotten something right, I'll just as freely give them credit for it. But that being said, it's gotten to the point recently where I've started to feel that maybe Disney will never be able to recapture the magic of their glory days. And then something like Once Upon a Studio comes out and reminds all of us not only why we once loved Disney, but that they are still capable of capturing that Disney magic. Because simply put, this is one of the best Disney shorts I have ever seen. And today, I'd like to just briefly discuss why this short is so great and how it's able to recapture the magic of old Disney so well. And there will be spoilers for the short ahead, so in case you'd like to see it for yourself first, and trust me, you do, you should probably come back to this video another day. Okay, so the setup behind Once Upon a Studio is really very simple. After the Roy E. Disney animation building closes for the night, all of the animated characters created by Walt Disney come jumping out of their portraits to take a picture in celebration of the studio's 100-year anniversary. Led by Mickey Mouse, a whole assortment of different characters travel through the building before finally making it outside and, despite Goofy almost ruining it, are able to take the celebratory picture. Now let me just say, for a short that ends up running just a little over 7 minutes in total, there are a lot of different aspects to praise here. And to address the most obvious one first, there's the animation style of the characters. Because unlike Ralph Breaks the Internet and other modern stories that use classic cartoon characters, all of the characters are animated exactly how they were in their original movies. And I don't just mean in traditional animation and CGI, but I also mean the exact same animation styles from their movies. For example, there's a shot that has Moana, Flounder from The Little Mermaid, and Merlin from The Sword in the Stone, and all three look as if they were ripped right out of their respective movies. Moana is in polished CGI, Flounder is a fluid drawing with slight imperfections to him, and Merlin looks exactly like a 2D drawing made cheaply interacting with a real environment. Honestly, the attention to detail here is simply amazing, especially because they didn't use any recycled animation for this short. Everything you see here is made specifically for the short. Even the interactions of the characters with real environments feels extremely authentic, even if most of the props are actually photorealistic CGI. But that's never enough to break the illusion that they are indeed in the real world. And another thing that's really impressive here is the voice cast. Because living or dead, they got a lot of voice actors to reprise their roles for this short, even if it just amounts to a single line. And their use of archived lines is put to extremely good use, with the most famous instance being that they got permission from Robin Williams' estate to use a previously unheard line of his as the genie, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty nice to hear. Or another example is Ursula, as due to Pat Carroll's death, they opted to use a previously recorded line and noises of hers instead of recasting her, which I felt was very appropriate. And that's only just scratching the surface of the people they both got to record new lines and brought back from the dead to voice their characters one last time. Though I have to admit, seeing James Woods as Hades once again got to me. Really. I don't know if I've felt this choked up since I got a hunk of moussaka caught in my throat. Huh? But in all seriousness, what also helps, in addition to getting so many of the original voices for the characters, is some of the situations they're put in. Because there are some really funny gags here. Like Elsa freezing Hans in his portrait while assuring Anna that not all of the Disney villains will be there to take the picture, and Flash the Sloth holding up the elevator while Donald Duck tries not to throw a temper tantrum. That's pretty funny stuff. Or seeing Ka, voiced by Sterling Holloway, hypnotizing Clarabelle Cow while Mickey looks on in a panic, and then being hit with a frying pan by Rapunzel. I never knew I needed to see that. But one of my favorite gags has to be when Gaston is admiring himself in the mirror, and then suddenly the Cheshire Cat appears, first over his eyes and then his mouth before materializing entirely. Seriously, not only is that perfect, because that's exactly the type of thing the Cheshire Cat would do to troll an egomaniac like Gaston, but overall, it's just a perfect interaction between two extremely unlikely characters. And that's just one example of that. Throughout the short, there are many great scenes between characters who have no business speaking to each other. But above all else, this short has heart. You can tell that the people working on this truly love Disney and all the characters it's created over the years. And that is the reason why they are making it. Everything from making the animation feel authentic to getting as many of the original voice actors as possible, you can just feel that this short was made as a sincere tribute to Walt Disney and all the people who love and were inspired by him. Because for one thing, they include characters from every movie in the Disney animated canon, regardless of how unpopular, or in some instances downright hated, they were. Because they are still a part of Disney and deserve to be a part of the celebration regardless of that, as well as through their effort to make the characters both look and sound exactly how the audience knows them. Simply put, this is not something deliberately made to emotionally manipulate the audience. This is something that was made to honor both them and the man who made it all possible, Walt Disney, and it shows. There's even a moment where the fun stops and Mickey Mouse just gazes upon a portrait of the man himself with a sad smile on his face and simply says, "Thank you." And again, it all feels completely sincere and rather touching, like the people making the short are saying it to him through Mickey. And in addition to all of that, there's also the ending. Because after Goofy accidentally breaks the camera, all of the characters start to walk away angrily and give up on the whole thing. But then Alan Adale from Robin Hood starts playing a familiar tune, "When You Wish Upon a Star," which reminds all the characters of why they exist in the first place. To remind people that their wishes can come true, no matter the odds, if they want it hard enough. And as more and more people join in, including the likes of Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Snow White, Mulan, and Asha in a trio, it culminates in Jiminy Cricket, the man who first introduced the song, being voiced by Cliff Edwards of the original Pinocchio himself before everybody joins in and takes the picture. Call it cheesy if you want to, but it honestly makes for a pretty emotional ending. Because once again, it all feels completely sincere. Like all it wants is to assure the audience that when they wish upon a star, their dreams can come true. It's a message Walt Disney himself not only believed in, but lived it as well. So to have his characters convey that to the audience is honestly the most respectful, perfect tribute to the man they could have possibly done. So to put it simply, for Disney lovers, there is absolutely nothing not to love about this short. It's a completely sincere, genuine, and heartfelt love letter to the studio that has given millions of people wonderful stories to cherish, and the man who created it all. Frankly, for a company celebrating 100 years, they couldn't have made a better short to encapsulate it all. And I think it's one that Walt Disney would have been very proud of and touched by. And if nothing else, this short also shows that Disney does still have the Disney magic in them. Because honestly, I don't know if I've ever seen something that's felt so Disney in years, as most of their 2010 and early 2020 movies have felt much more like Pixar than Disney. But here, that Pixar feeling is nowhere to be found. Though what I also think is part of the problem is that Disney has been trying too hard to feel like Disney since their merger with Pixar. But this short simply is a Disney short and isn't trying to be one. And simply put, I would honestly say that this short is the perfect template for Disney to follow going forward. They should stop trying to make Disney movies and instead just make Disney movies. As this short proves, when there's genuine love and passion behind it, it's really that simple. Okay, I think I've sung this short to praises for long enough. So now I'd like to hear from you guys. Do you love Once Upon a Studio and believe it was the perfect tribute to both Walt Disney and the company as a whole? Or were you not that impressed by it? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you disagree with me on this, that's absolutely fine. I've got no issue with you if you do. And thank you all for watching. I very greatly appreciate it. And I hope to see you all next time.